Hey divers, it's Sean from Dive Right in Scuba, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build your webbing for a one-piece harness. So let's crack right into it. First, we want to find the halfway point on our webbing. To do so, we're going to grab both corners, or each end I should say. Here's one end, here's another end. We're going to hold these against each other level, and then while keeping them tight, we're gonna find where the middle is. And look at that, I've got a grommet in the middle of my webbing. Some manufacturers do that. It's not required. It makes it a little bit easier. But if your webbing does not have a grommet in the center, that's how you find the center of your webbing. That's our first step. Next, we wanna line up this middle portion with the middle of our spine of our plate. We're gonna flip the plate over and line that grommet with the middle hole here, like so. If you happen to have a book screw handy, you can use that right now to hold it in place. I'm going to do so as it makes my life easier. Cool, so now we have that book screw holding our webbing in place so that it doesn't get yoked or skewed too far to the left or right. Go ahead and take one of your bands, and we're going to floss the top corner of the band into the diagonal slot, top corner to top corner, like so. We're going to repeat that step on the opposite side. Top corner to top corner. If you don't thread it that way, if we were to do it upside down with a twist, you'll end up with an ugly kink like this in your plate and it won't work. So if that's what you're getting, make sure that you thread top corner to top corner. Sweet, so now we've got the back done. We're gonna grab either arm, and we're gonna floss this back through this top slot above the one we just used. Go ahead and pull that back through. Same on the other side. All right, looking good. Beautiful. So now we've webbed our shoulder portion. Flip the plate around. Pull your arm straps down, because the next step is to build some D-ring connections. All right, on our right side, we just need to do a simple D-ring. And to build that, we'll grab a tri-glide and grab your strap. Feed the bottom of your strap through the top of the tri-glide. Then grab a curved D-ring. We want a curved D-ring on our shoulders. And floss your webbing through the D-ring. Pull the tri-glide and D-ring together until, this is just a rule of thumb, but a good place to start is until it's lined up with that little notch in the plate there. Then go ahead and floss the tail of your shoulder strap through the bottom opening on that tri-glide. Beautiful. That gives us a D-ring connection. On the right-hand side, we have a power inflator, which likes to live in this area. And to make our lives a little bit easier, we're going to use this large O-ring. If you don't have that large O-ring, you can also use a piece of bungee to help retain your power inflator. And same way as before, we're going to put the webbing through the top of that tri-glide. We're going to grab another curved D-ring, and we're going to put that through. And here's the catch. Now we're also going to grab this O-ring. Like I said, you could use a piece of bungee and a loop as well, and feed that through. And you know what? You might want to have the O-ring over the D-ring. So it's going to be a little sandwich of tri-glide, O-ring, D-ring. Then we're going to floss the tail of our shoulder strap back through the bottom opening on that tri-glide. And that will create a D-ring with a retention loop for our power inflator. Just like before, we're gonna slide this whole assembly down here. To move a D-ring, it's as easy as creating slack in the direction which you want to travel. So we created that slack by feeding up into the tri-glide, and now we can pull that slack and snug it down. We can move it a little bit further up so that it's in line with its brother D-ring on the other shoulder. Beautiful. Looking good. All right. Now that we've completed our shoulder D-ring assemblies, we want to attach our retaining Snoopy loops. These are really nifty. They're basically little gum bands that, or rubber bands for those of you who don't live in Pittsburgh. These gum bands are going to go over these straps, and these are real nifty for holding on to backup lights or really any accessories that we have clipped onto those D-rings, but especially lights. These will help keep your lights in line with your webbing for an ultra streamlined look. If you clip them to the D-ring and then use this gum band to retain the head of your light. So we want to make sure we get one on each side. Cool, so we got one here. I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to watch me struggle through that. All right, when flossing our waistband, just like on our shoulders, we want to make sure we're matching our bottom corner to bottom corner. So this bottom corner here is going to feed through the inner diagonal slot, and we want bottom corner matching bottom corner. Like so. All right. What we don't want is a twist or a kink in the sleeve. You'll know you have that if you didn't remember bottom corner to bottom corner. So if I were to take my bottom corner and let's say I wasn't paying attention and I flossed it incorrectly, so the bottom corner is going through the top, well, I will now be stuck with this kink in my webbing right here, which is no good. That's pretty uncomfortable. So notice how this one's nice and flush, and this one's got this squiggle kink. No good. So to prevent that, like I said a moment ago, bottom corner to bottom corner on the inner slot. Cool. For our left side, we can go ahead and grab a tri-glide. And we're going to feed the strap through the tri-glide all the way around. What this one's going to do is lock this in place so that it doesn't, our shoulder strap doesn't slide into our waist strap and vis-a-vis. This will help make sure it stays a uniform size. Go ahead and grab your webbing, floss it back through the open slot, and then back through the outer diagonal hole on the waist area. And there you've got one locked into place, shoulder into waist assembly. On this side, we can leave it be. This is optional. You can choose to put another D-ring, or assume another tri-glide there to have your system completely locked up, or you could choose to leave this one without one. That would allow you a little bit of range to adjust the sizing of your suit. This will make more sense once we get another D-ring on here. You might also choose to use some cool honorable mentions like the Mares XR loop, which does basically what I'll show you how to use without it, but it allows you a quick adjust assembly. So you can get extra slack in one arm so that you can get out of your harness a little bit simpler, especially if you're wearing like a big bulky dry suit or something like that. Okay, so on this side, we're just gonna floss this back through. All right, at this point we want to confirm that these are lined up, and they're not. That means on this side, I gave myself too much slack. So to adjust, basically what I'm doing is I'm pulling this one tight all the way. So that's as high from the plate as it can go. And this one I'm pulling as high as I can go. This one, see how they're not lining up nicely? I want these to line up nicely. So what I'll do is pull slack from down here until my D-rings are now even with each other. At this point, I'm going to carefully put these to the side so that they hold their position. And I'm going to pinch my thumb here, hold that strap where we just had it. And now we're going to floss this slack back into that tri-glide. All right, hold that there. Pull the slack, check these are nice and even, and now we're where we want to be. These D-rings are even with each other. I can lift it from them. So we've got equal slack on each side. Let's get started on our waist assembly. Some divers wear ditchable weight systems, and if you are using one, at this point, you'd want to install that weight assembly here and here. You can see my other videos where I do tutorials on harnesses and systems on Dive Right and Scuba, and those are going to go into much greater detail on how to install your weight release pouches. In this case, we're just going to keep moving forward. Go ahead and grab a tri-glide. Just like before, you guys are probably becoming masters at this. Go ahead and feed through the outside. Go ahead and grab, this time, your flat D-ring, a nice and flat D-ring. Floss that through the strap. And typical spacing for just getting these started is about 4 fingers from the plate. So if you get that tri-glide, 4 fingers from that plate, and that's about the ballpark for the correct position of this waist D-ring. All right, voila, one waist D-ring. We're gonna do the other side, and you'll begin to see what I was referring to about a little bit of quick adjust there. So, going to floss this through the top, grab the flat D-ring, feed it through, slide the tri-glide and D-ring down together, measure 4 fingers, floss the waist strap back through the opening on your tri-glide, and that completes our waist tri-glide assembly. So if we flip the plate over, you'll notice this side is locked in with a tri-glide. This side has not been locked in. What that allows us now is by pulling on our shoulder strap, we can turn the slack that was in between our D-ring assembly and the plate into extra shoulder space. See how now these are no longer even with each other? What this allows is the diver to be able to sneak out of the harness with a little bit of room here in this shoulder. So if you're diving dry and you have a big deflator valve here, sometimes that can snag if things are real tight. So having the ability to give yourself a few extra inches for donning and doffing is pretty nifty. And it's just a little cheat code. When you're then donning the suit, When you pull this strap around your waist to get all nice and tight, that will pull this into the correct location, taking that extra slack that was added and recuperating it back into your waistband. So it'll dive the same. It'll dive as if it fits you perfect. It just gives you that ability to loosen it once you undo your waistband. Speaking of waistbands, let's keep going. Our next step is to grab our buckle. And these floss just like any other old weight buckle that you might have used in the past. We're going to take our waist strap band on our right side and we're going to dive right in to the first hole. So while we're looking at our weight clip, we will dive from the outside in. Then go ahead and take the leading edge and floss it back through in the opposite direction. And one more time, we're going to floss back through that last hole. All right. With this remaining slack, we can use our thumb to pull back, expose this opening here, and floss the slack back through the first hole you dove in. Pull that through, and there you go. What could have been ideal is if I had one more gum band, I would have put it right here, and that could have helped hold any of my slack that exists here. With this slack, don't rush to trim it. You want to make sure that your harness fits you the way you want it to before cutting anything. Don't get this size to you in your t-shirt at home and then trim this down before you go dry suit diving, because you might find that this system no longer fits you in your dry suit. So when you're assembling your plate, assemble it to fit you in the amount of equipment that you plan on wearing when you're diving this. We're not done yet. We've got to install our crotch strap. So our crotch strap is an important piece of equipment which will help hold our back plate in position on our body without it raising and dropping on us. It'll hold it nice and stable for a solid dive platform. What we do is we're going to find the loop end. This is what our waist belt will feed through. So we can toss that to the side for now. We're focused on our tail side. Our tail side will be threaded through one of the bottom holes on the plate. You typically have two. Use the one that fits yours. After you pull it through, you'll notice another little D-ring down here on your crotch strap. You might need to give yourself a little slack to install it, like I did. And what we're going to do is weave this tail piece back through the tri-glide. And to do so, we need to create a little bit of slack so that we can maneuver this tail through this opening. So I've got a little bit of slack. I might want some more just to make my life easier and so you can see better. I'm going to take this tail, pass it through this inner spot here so it's sharing the channel with itself. I'm pulling it through, creating a little curl, and now I'm going to feed it back through the opposite hole, like so. And pull it all tight and get it snug. And there you go. One crotch strap installed on your plate.